Test 1, 2, test 2, 3. Where are my transcripts? Excellent. Hello all, welcome. So we are innovating by using AI transcripts. So I'm going to pass around the mic. If you could introduce yourself and who you're with, you'll go on our attendee list.
Hello, my name is Yerin Kim. I am from the OUR office. Yerin with the Y-E-R-I-N in case it has to be accurate. Thank you.
I'm Ash Perrin, also with the Office of University Student Research.
This could be part of my advisor duties, introduce yourself so AI picks up who our attendee list.
Okay. Michelle Hill, the Early Childhood Learning Center director there.
Nora Jacobs, the interim manager at Wildcat Farm.
Joseph Pearson, executive director for Auxiliary Enterprises.
Ryan McGuckin, international office.
Rachel Gordon with the international office.
Alrighty, I'm going to get started. I call this meeting to order, at 3:01 p.m. Let's start with attendance. Chair Matheson is not here today. Vice Chair Baugh is also not here today. Parliamentarian Rachel is here. All right, we have Alex.
Yep.
Perfect. Abby.
Present.
Eros.
Present.
And I'm going to embarrass myself right now. I'm so sorry. Austin.
Present.
All right. Perfect. And that is 5 out of 7, so we have quorum. Next, we have the approval of minutes. Pull that up on either our screen or on our emails, everybody.
Looked at it.
Already looked at it?
I motion to approve last week's minutes.
I second.
All right. Any opposed?
Sorry.
Any abstentions? All in favor? Perfect. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have no reports from the chair, as well, he's not here today. So next we have the reports from the advisors.
Mine is just a reminder to all of our guests today that you have 10 minutes for your presentation and then 10 minutes for Q&A. If the committee needs more time, they will vote and extend your time.
Perfect. And anything from ASUO today? No? Cool. Perfect. All right, next, just a little follow-up. We do have communications received from Grinch and Laus from the Pulse and Observer. So if you all want to take a look at that at some point, this is just the ad revenue that we requested from last meeting. Perfect.
So just to explain, if you all remember Pulse and Observer, last week we asked them, they did not include their self-generating revenue, so we asked them to report back on an estimated amount. Thank you. Oh, poor Ba. So we asked them to send us an email to tell us what the estimated revenue was. So Gretchen sent that over today, and then just to make sure it was clearly explained, I did ask a clarifying question to make sure that the difference in the amounts listed was whether they printed every week, which was one of their options, whether they printed biweekly. And of course, you all know Pulse did not have a no print option, so they estimated the ad revenue to be the same if they printed quarterly as they intended to do. So that was just what this email is just clarifying. Gretchen responds that yes. So that was the clarification of the ad revenue.
All right, perfect. Does anyone have any questions on that? Okay, moving on to our first call of public comment. All righty. Moving on then to new business, we have our first base funding request, the Office of Undergraduate Research.
Sorry, let me minimize all this and get it out of the way.
Everyone can hear me okay? Hi. I already said my name, but I'm Ash Perrin, just in case. Nice reminder, I'm the program coordinator for undergraduate studies, and we support Office of University Student Research. I'm here with Dr. Yerin Kim, who is the new to us OUR director this year, and it's been really exciting to work together. So we're going to tell you a little bit about our request and what our office does. Is that going to work? Okay, so our business, what we do with OUR. So Source is one of the biggest things we do, but we also provide funding for students to pursue their research and their creative expression. So one of my favorite things about Source itself is that it's not just for hard sciences researches, but it really is capturing everything that we're doing on campus. I like to think that I get paid to celebrate what people are working on every day, which is really fun. But so the funding from S&A that we get puts on the Source event itself, which for those who don't know, it's a professional research conference like I mentioned, and we really do, I think, uphold that professional atmosphere, and it helps prepare students for presenting at conferences in grad school and beyond. And so we do the Source event itself. It's 2 days in the CERC. I'll talk a little bit more about that in our next slide. But we also have an awards ceremony to honor the Source presenters who got awarded, because everyone gets judges, so the top scores get honored at the Source Award ceremony the following week. And then we also have Source preparatory events. So we have one coming up actually next week, 2 weeks away on the 18th. It's called How to Source. But each fall we have Why to Source. That's kind of the drum of excitement, explain what Source is for students. And then in the winter we have How to Source, and that is a mock poster presentation, much like Source Day 2. But the contents are all about how to be successful at Source, and we have past Source presenters as well as our campus partners like Career Services and the Multimodal Education Center with just content on how to be really successful and have a successful abstract submission process as well as a research process. We even have tips on how to approach a mentor if you don't have one and how to collaborate with mentorships there. And then the other part of the funding that we receive is for the OUR grants. I'm starting to kind of call them funding awards because grants has been confusing externally. So it still operates the same. It's mainly for like internal clarity with other partners that I work with on campus as we try to figure out other type of expenses that aren't related to this. So it's been easier for me to say funding awards, but put grant in here just so we're all kind of on the same page language-wise. But so we have a couple other funding sources. The provost office does give us some money in the fall for undergraduates only. And then we have a Foundry 10 fund as well. That is an external donor. That gives us a little bit more money as well for research. They're based on the West Side, and they come to Source every year. And they're really interested in the projects that they fund too, so we give them those abstracts and impact letters, and it's been a really awesome partnership so far. And just to note, all students who are undergrads are eligible to apply for any of the funding through any of the sources that we have through the Office of University Student Research, and we cover expenses such as registration, travel costs, like hotel stays, research equipment, supplies. If you need to order chemicals from OXARC for your science, things like that are eligible expenses. And then what is SOURCE? So again, SOURCE is one of the many acronyms we have here at CWU. So Symposium of University Student Research and Creative Expression. It's a big two-day event that showcases, again, what we're doing on campus. This year is going to be the 31st anniversary of Source, and it has grown so much. It used to be a poster session on the second floor in the science building, and it has grown to what it is today, where each year, it's like a year in advance on Source Day 2, I request the circ kind of like everything. We just take over for a couple days and have activities all throughout, not just the presentations, but we have performances and like engagement activities at the corridor. We have external partners that come as well. And so last year, well, actually 2 academic years ago, we also received an ISSN number from the Library of Congress. So anybody who presents at Source gets published in the Library of Congress. Their abstract does, which is really fun to just be able to put on your resume. And I also want to add, too, for Source participation, it's not an application. If you sign up to present at Source, we're taking you and we're expecting you to be there. And it's really that mentorship collaboration that we work on. So we have a letter of approval from the mentor, and that's really what you need is a mentor and an idea. And then Sources for you, even if you're a freshman, all the way up to grad students. And we had a faculty member who wanted to present last year too. So we had space though, but students do come first with that one. And then I'd mentioned it's the 31st anniversary this year. And something else that's also exciting is that we have a journal. So we had a second ISSN number that's digital only. So last year we sent a call out to all the students who presented, and anyone who wanted to publish a full paper was able to. So now we have our first class of students who have a full-length paper, or what would you call it when it's like creative expression project? Like not their published paper, but I think we did like program notes. So if you had we had like a horn club that participates, and they have a full program that they put together. And just an overview of who came. So we had 734 unique students who attended Source over the 2 days, and among them there are 468 students who presented, over 310 presentations. So sometimes there's a big group. Some presentations have 9, some have 1 single student on it. That varies on the project. We had 119 oral presenters, 117 poster presentations. So day 1 is oral, day 2 is poster. And then we had 13 pre-recorded presentations, because another thing we really care about at OUR is including all of Central Washington University, which isn't just Ellensburg, but our satellite campuses as well. So we can't host it there, unfortunately, but we give them an opportunity to pre-record a presentation and send it to us, and then they still get judged, and we play those in the circ pit on day 2 as well. And that's been, I think, pretty successful in getting more engagement from our satellite centers. And we've had some students who are out of town for a wedding, and so they pre-record and still participate in Source that way as well. And we have kiddos come from the local elementary schools, and then high school students come and present posters as well. That was like long-winded, but we're good. So kind of into the meat of it. So how we assess Source and how we're doing. So we monitor the number of presentations and projects submitted per year. We monitor the number of the grants or awards that we're funding to students each year, the number of students served by the programs and workshops. So we have check-ins at each of our Source events. We also have info sessions in between to help them have successful grant funding applications. Yearn did a lot of work in fall to really redefine the criteria. So we have really professional applications, and it helped, I think, this cycle. We're having some really stellar applications that they're currently reviewing for the winter cycle. So February 20th is the day that we're going to announce those who were selected. We also monitor the diversity of the students participating, and then just attendee check-in and their demographic data as well, so we can see the impact of not just those who are presenting at source, but those are there to experience it. One thing I love about it being this CERC is sometimes people are just here for lunch, and then they end up learning about law and justice, which is cool. And then we have an OUR affiliated scholars program, so we connect with past source students and ask if they're interested. They were like successful at source, and then they help us at our source prep events, and so they're the ones who present our contents on how to be successful at source, and then we give them a certificate, and then they can put that name on their resume as well. Yeah, and we're also I don't have it on the slide, but we've been working with the peer mentors too, which has been really fun. So we have source-specific peer mentors. Not really related to the money. I just love to talk about source, so fun fact. All right, and then I'm going to pass this off to Dr. Erin Kim now for more of the meat.
Great. I will do my speedy wrap. So we did our first round of fall applications and sent out the results, and that was great. It was the highest number we've had in a while, and we are currently reviewing the winter cycle. As Ash mentioned, I did go through and did some significant updates on the guidelines with in mind that a lot of our first-time grant writers, I wanted them to have a little bit more of a guideline on how to prepare an academic funding requests to university so that they can have it as an educational experience. So that, it took a lot of effort to really craft it, but on the back end of it, everybody in the committee of the grant funding committee, we write now feedback. So regardless of you getting the reward or not, or rejection, everybody gets a comment so that you know what to work on. And even if you did get an award, if you didn't get fully funded, we give feedback on what could be better. So I'm really hoping these OUR grant recipients and applications and leading up to source could be a real educational curriculum that regardless of your background or disciplines, it's something that I think that our university actually offers quite singular actually that can be applied to every student on campus and online. So we're very happy with that, and then the numbers are showing, and I'm hoping to keep that momentum up. I have more communication with every department in university, try to encourage people to apply. So it's been a good work for us. Oh, it was a mouse. So these are just a few, some numbers. I think you already have this in the application that we submitted. Numbers are growing. We all know that the COVID years were hard. We all went online, and there was some changes involved. And last year was very successful, so we are just trying to expand that more. I'm coming from music, and so I think it's the first time we had a director from the music department. So what I bring, though, I think is really exciting because for my undergrad, I did a double degree in psychology and piano. So now that I'm fully in music, it's really exciting for me to bring in research and performance and creative expressions into this wide symposium and to hopefully reach as many students as possible who may think, well, what I'm doing is not research, or what my research is in performance. I do think that there's a lot of crossover that all of our students can benefit from. And I was very happy, but also there's a lot of work to do when I'm looking at these numbers and data. You can see that there's very different type of students that are always participating. There's also different, levels of students, undergrads. Even within undergrad, a lot of first years don't participate much at all. So my hope is that through this OUR grant, a lot of the students will say, I will, even if I don't get it, I'll try to support and participate in source, which was exciting to see because I want it to be a curriculum that can be streamlined throughout first year to graduating and then to post-grad. Okay, this just shows the relationship of students who get funded in the OUR grant money to also participating in source and kind of where they're coming from. We are working on that differences again, me coming from CA, it has helped to get the word out and get more participation from every departments we have. These are all numbers that actually I put them on the application, so you can please take a look, because those numbers do, I think, speaks a lot. And I just wanted to last marks, that is, I took this job because it was educational across all disciplines. That is very student focused. And as Ash mentioned, it's not an application for the source, but it heavily relies on faculty and student mentorship. So I think it's something that's unique that we offer in our programs across the board. And I'm very grateful, I think, that we have this on campus for everybody. Questions that we can answer for you guys? Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Like, what are some requirements or parameters that students kind of have to get a scholarship or a grant or something like that?
Funding applications?
Yes.
Requirements is that you need to have a project.
Okay.
You have to have a set project or a research topic. We have one award category. One of the things that we worked on was the experiential award, where first or second year students may not have a set idea yet, but are trying to format. They're working on it, and that usually costs money too. You have to fly over to a conference. You're not presenting, but would like to hear other people speak. Would like to go to Seattle to listen to concerts with the specific composers. Those also cost money. So we encourage students to be able to write and formulate what that interest and passion is, and then apply for funding, and we are able to fund that as well. And then there are students who are specifically requesting equipment, costs that are very costly, and we explain that anything that they are able to purchase through grants, it belongs to Central. So then if it stays in the department, then it actually benefits the entire department and your student body or clubs or whoever you're working with. And that's the same case as faculty too. Whenever I purchase something, you have to understand that. So it really is a pre-professional experience of knowing what is legal, what is not legal, what is possible, what is not possible. And it's the most, I think, educational way to do that.
To add a little bit more, but they also, in terms of, I'm not sure if you were asking actual application requirements, but
yeah,
so we want to see the abstract for the project, or your creative artistic statement, then a project description, and they do vary depending on which one, because we have an external donor. So Foundry 10 requires a couple other things, but in terms of funding from OUR, we need. We don't even do the. Sorry, there's the provost one too. There's three, but so it's there's resume for the participants, the abstract, your project description, and then I think that's it, right? Okay, sorry, we just redid the guidelines, so I don't have them memorized as they did last year. But
so resume is only for faculty and student award. That we require CVs for everybody involved.
So the awards, right? Is there a tier system? Like some awards are a little bit bigger than others as well in terms of or not?
Good question. So the Faculty Student Award Project is the one that can fund the most.
Okay.
The one that comes from the provost and the one that comes from Foundry 10. Usually those are longer projects. There's definitely guaranteed more than one person involved. But everything else is the one that we award from OUR. If it's individual, it's $750. If it's more than one person, it's $1,500.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
How do you guarantee that the student uses the funds as intended?
Very good question. So we work with each department, and so every department has their financial point person, yes. So let's say you got an award to go to a conference in San Antonio, and so the department person will book those flights, make sure they keep all the receipts, and so it will go through not directly to the students. Students will have to work with their departments, and then they will work with Ash in our department, and we'll do it all as a reimbursement.
Okay. That was the thing I felt like maybe might be helpful to know for the question, that it is reimbursement based, and we really don't want students to front their own money, and we encourage them to work with the departments to make any purchases. That does vary department by department, but we're always I'm always so happy to help, and I've built a lot of connections with support staff over the years. And so sometimes I just met someone in the music department yesterday and just kind of sat down and talked over it. Yeah, so I kind of lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I just wanted to make a note too, just for context, that it's reimbursement based. And then typically the departments are taking care of the purchases. And I do send the support staff the award letter and the like budget items so they can kind of cross-reference so they know that the purchases align with the project.
I have two questions. The first one, when you say like OUR grants, that specifically is the S&A portion, correct?
Yeah, that's a great clarifying question.
Okay,
yeah.
So there's the Foundry 10, the S&A, and then the Provost.
Yeah, so they're all different like revenue sources.
And then my second question is, on a couple slides back, you had a section that said DHC and non-CWU.
Oh. Yeah, Douglas Honors College is DHC.
Right.
And then, do we have those together on one?
Yeah, if you could keep, I think, yeah, in the green. Just to double check, are non-CWU students eligible to receive an S&A funded grant?
Yeah, and so this is source participation, though. Sorry about that. We were kind of showing the impact of who participates in the event in this case. So this is just people who this is data on the presentations themselves, not those who were funded by OUR.
I would hold my question and just to verify, are the grants that are being received with S&A dollars, are those only going to students that are current students?
Yes, current. They can't actually be an alumni either. So it would have to be a current student, and that participation that's non-CW, it's recorded. So we have partnership with a school university in Japan. I'm actually going to be there next week to kind of strengthen different partnership with industries, because one of the things that I'm working on is to have a career fair. It's our dream to have maybe a session where students can meet industry partners for time after Central. So those are the things that we'll be working on with non-CW. For the money-related things, it has to be, and we make that very clear, it has to be current student. And we sometimes get questions, students who are graduating who request funds. Those we can't award either, is what my thought is, because if they're done being a student here, but they're requesting funds for the next academic year, we can't award those. Unless we can. I don't think we can.
Would you all mind explaining, you asked for an increase in your funding this year. Would you all mind explaining to the committee what the additional ask is for?
Yes, the specific increase was actually what I presented last supplemental one for the spring term. Right now, the OUR funding is only open for winter, fall and winter. So in an academic year, students can only apply twice. A lot of disciplines, CA and sciences, actually most of them, when I talk to the department chairs, there's a lot of need for summer research and creative activities. I know there is difficulties with fiscal year versus academic year. So I think the easiest way was to not just have it funding available for the summers, and so that's why spring was never there. However, a lot of these conference fees and festivals, you have to pay the tuition before June 1st. So a lot of those, even if students get into a lot of these very difficult programs, they aren't able to go because they can't come up with the funds. But in a lot of these, you have to secure your position by paying a certain amount of money by end of May, which is most of the requirements are. So my hope and request is that to increase the funding so that we have opportunities available for students to apply for those in spring, so that they can use those funds to, nothing travel though, we will make it very clear, because that gets very muddy and difficult to track, but program fees, anything that they can have to pay up front that will be reimbursed before end of May, we're hoping to be able to fund it.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, up next we have the Early Childhood Learning Center. I don't know if I heard.
Good, how are you? Hi, Erin. Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Hill, the director at the Early Childhood Learning Center. And I will get started on our presentation. Okay, a little bit about the ECLC. That's our acronym that we use for Early Childhood Learning Center. We have been opened since 1983, so 43 years. And then we went on and opened an infant and toddler program down at Michelson Hall. And that opened in September 2005, so that's been going since 2021. And recently, we moved the infants and toddlers from down there up to Brooklane Village. In the picture on the right is Suite 102, and that's where we moved the infants and toddlers, so they are up together with us. So just a visual, if you haven't been out to Brooklane Village, Suite 101, Suite 102, which is the annex next to us. We're after G Court on the right. You see the big playground out there. If you're familiar with the challenge course, that doesn't really get used, but up there, 18th Street, you see the big challenge course off there. Brooklane Village is just north of there, inside with all the apartments. We also have, all of our rooms are colors, so we have every color of the rainbow. Green room is our after school age, and so that is what we switched and took down to Michelson. So we have ages 5 through 12 there. So right across from Nicholson Pavilion, and that is room 109. So when you walk in from the mall side, it's your first door on the left. And just a little, but I like to add the pictures so you can see what is going on inside the rooms. This is how we switch it up for the school agers. And ages 5 through 12 down there, so that's what that looks like inside the room. The maximum capacity is 23 that we can have down there, and initially we opened up school age April 2018. And then the ratio, when it says 1 to 15 like that, the 1 is the teacher and 15 is the children, so that's how many children the teacher can have. Okay, so ECLC, we're all different colors, and it's a lot of information. So we have 4 class groups, and we have pre-K, which is right before kindergarten. We can have 17 children in there, and that is our blue room. Red room is our 2 and 3-year-old room, and the ratio is 1 to 7 children. Yellow room is ages 3 and 4, and then our ratio goes a little bit up, is 1 to 10. And blue room is the 4 to 5, which we call the pre-K room, and the ratio is 1 to 10. And when I say the ratios, that is per licensing, so licensing makes those rules. So when if I say the word WAC, it's Washington Administrative Code, and that's what we have to follow. All right, next door is Rainbow, and that's Suite 102. And it is one big room, 4 weeks to 36 months we can have in there. And when you have the babies, you can have 4 babies to 1 teacher. The toddlers can have 7 toddlers to 1 teacher. A little bit about us. We can have up to 79 children, 2 separate facilities. We can have 56 children at ECLC, and that's in Brooklane Village, and then 23 down at Michelson. And The second paragraph I really already visited. Yep, that's fine. And we provide quality childcare services, educational curriculum. We use creative curriculum, and to serve the needs of young children from 1 month to 12 years in age. They can age out at their 13th birthday. And we do have little friends that stay with us that long, and most start with us also around 3 months of age. Primary goal is to sustain curiosity and eagerness to learn in all young children. We follow creative curriculum in the classrooms. Even with the infants and toddlers, we have the curriculum that we follow. Teaching to the child's area of development and education, cognitive, emotional, social, creative, and physical. We do quite a few events out there. They're very popular. Families come. It's a great turnout. We do basically one a quarter. Harvest Fest is in November, where we invite parents out for lunch, and that's right before everybody breaks for the recess for Thanksgiving. Winterfest is in January. Spring Fling and Barbecue on Professional Development Day. Parent Night Out. We haven't had one of those in quite a while. Dr. Seuss Night is fun. Dino Stomp. Parents in the Classroom. And then we have an end of summer luau. And we follow the same calendar year as Central. So when you all are done with the full session, we break also. And that's when we have our summer luau. And that's a big turnout. Approximately 75 to 100 students at our center during the year. We also are able to take student parents that are taking online classes through CWU. And right now, winter 2026, we have 50 families. We also came back December for supplemental funding. And we have carpet that's been there for 30 years. And it's a commercial carpet. It lays over a concrete floor with no padding. And it is deemed from FMD, which is facilities, end of life. So the total flooring would be $50,000, and we would pull that carpet and put vinyl plank flooring down. So, and then I included in here a WAC. We do have to have carpets cleaned, and we have a reoccurring work order with facilities, and they come out and clean those every quarter. So that is also what we asked for. And a little bit about who we employ, student staff. We've had interns in the past. During COVID, we did have a student teacher. Practicums are huge, some quarters more than others. So for summer 2025, we had 22 student staff and 3 practicum. Fall 2025, student staff 23, practicum 4. And then right now, winter, we have 26 student staff and 8 practicum. And so that's our most practicum, actually. And our shifts, we're open 7:30 to 5:30, and they can be anywhere from 2 hours to 5 hours. So depending on what their class schedule is, we use when to work. It just really depends on what their schedule is. They could fill a 1 to 2 hour gap, or they could be there a big chunk of time, and they might have classes like a Tuesday or Thursday. And so Monday, Wednesday, Friday is open. So every quarter is different, and always a challenge to staff to get everything covered. Student learning objectives. Through student employment at the ECLC, Central students are able to gain valuable experience hands-on in the classroom with children ages 1 month to 12 years. Thus enabling building the resume for the future employment once graduating from Central. And we are minimum wage out there, so that's what the student staff are paid, $17.13. ECLC is designed to provide quality child care services, early learning through an educational curriculum to serve the needs of young children ranging 1 month to 8 years of old. Primary goal to sustain curiosity and eagerness to learn in all young children, follow creative curriculum, and then we really emphasize learning through play, the child's development, education, cognitive, emotional, social, creative, and physical. And then we already talked about the events. We offer a parent survey once a year to solicit parent input for program service, direction, and growth. The areas that we collab with, Dr. Amy Claridge, Family and Child Life. Okay. Dr. Gary just had 2 groups of students come out this week, and Department of Education. We've had AUAP in the past, and then practicum students with Candy Lippincott. Program goals, they support the university goals, recruitment and retention of students, keeping families here, keeping students here so they can finish their degree, where they can rest easy, take their classes, and they know that their child is in a safe environment. These are our rates, so student rates are lower than faculty staff rate. Each room is different. Infants is the most expensive, and then it goes down from there. So infants is $57 for a full day, toddlers $55, and then all the rooms at ECLC are $53 a day, and school age also. Our wait list, I listed our wait list. Everybody asks about our wait list. Infants right now, student parents, we have 6 children on the wait list. Faculty staff, we have 21. And alumni, we have 4. Toddlers, there's student parents are 1, and then faculty staff 7, and alumni are 2. Ages 2 and 3, student parents on the wait list is 1, faculty staff is 1, alumni is 2. 1 minute. Ages 3 and 4, student parents are 1, faculty staff 5, and alumni 2. And then their pre-K room, which they now offer TK at the public schools. So that also empties out our blue room, which is our pre-K classroom. So student parents is 1, faculty staff is 1, and just alumni is 1. School agers, student parents are 9, faculty staff 5, and alumni 2. I think we're almost in. And the magic number is 31 years the ECLC has been receiving S&A funding. Probably could skip that one for my time, and that one also, and I think that's the... And then these are the pictures that just rotate through to the end to give you a visual of what goes on in the classroom for our events and learning.
Alrighty, thank
what
you.
Questions can I answer for everybody?
I have one. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I'm seeing a lot of information here, but my understanding is that what's actually being asked for is about approximately $55,000 to replace the floor.
50.
50. So this is for replacing the carpet and doing hardwood vinyl, yes?
Not hardwood, vinyl flooring.
Oh, okay. So while I appreciate all the information on demographics and how the rooms are broken up, I'm not seeing a lot in the pardon. I'm not seeing a lot in the slides about what the flooring does for your ability to offer these services. Can you help us get more of an idea of the purpose of this?
Hey, Ba, it's Robbie. I just wanted to correct one quick thing. So they're not just asking for the flooring. They're also asking for $296,000 to help supplement running of ECLC. So the $53,000 is just an increase from what they asked for last year for the flooring project.
And if I could,
that was my misunderstanding.
And that's okay, and it's a one-time ask. So that $53,000 is just 1 year. We, if you all approve, that would just be 1 year for the floor replacement, and then we would continue to fund them at their $296,000 ask.
Okay, so is that 50,000 in addition to the 296, or is it part of the 296?
No, it's in addition for the first year only.
Okay.
and if I could just step in, that was per your instruction to us the last time we came to your the supplemental fee. You asked us to put that in our request for this time, and that's why you're seeing it currently. And I'd like to, again, this is Joseph, if you can't see me. I'd just like to remind the S&A committee that we've been trying to follow your directions. We had a significant cost reduction in the last round of funding, which I totally understand. The ECLC was reduced this 4-year biennium. Was it by how much, Trent?
Yeah, half.
100, yeah, about half. So we had a half of the total support we used to get from S&A, and so that's put a significant financial strain on the operation, and so we've had to raise fees on everyone. Just that, we tried to operate, and right now the S&A funding is about less than a quarter of our total revenue, if you see on that sheet. So we're trying to, Michelle and her group are trying to, run the shop as efficiently as they can, keep labor costs down. Childcare is expensive. And to relate to the floor, we talked about last time at the supplemental funding, and Michelle mentioned it in her presentation. We're required to clean the floors. They can't clean the floor because the carpet is beyond life, and so we're out of compliance with the Washington State rules. So that's why we came to you for help to be able to replace that. Hopefully that clarifies that.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. One more thing. It's looking by these numbers as though the ECLC, am I wrong to say that it's serving faculty more than it is students at the moment?
That is correct.
Okay, that's all I had.
That is correct. There are some quarters we're heavy with faculty staff, some heavy with student, and after COVID, it has been heavy with faculty staff.
I have no more questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Kind of a follow-up question. So people can do their practicum and student teaching at the ECLC, right?
Correct. We've only had the student teaching during COVID just because the rules changed a little bit because they weren't able to go out to the public schools. So we haven't had any since then, but yes, practicum.
If you don't mind me asking, is that because students don't because I think that's an amazing opportunity, because I have my student teaching next quarter, so I'm kind of curious, why isn't there more student teaching? Is it because just, I don't know, I need some more context.
Student teaching or more practicum?
Yeah.
That's quite a bit for us to have to place in the
Okay,
classrooms. It is. But yeah, come on out if you have any interest in working with 4 weeks to 12 years. I'd say majority usually hit the 3 to 4 and 4 to 5 range, especially the pre-K, and that's where they like to land, kind of the sweet spot. So, but yeah, that is quite a bit for practicum because we already have 2 teachers in the classroom, and to rotate them through and for them to get their hours in and still do their university classes. So yeah, it's a good chunk. So 7, I would probably say in the past, with my experience, maybe 13 probably be the most we've had. 13. That's quite a bit.
That is a lot, yeah.
That's a lot of scheduling.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was just curious, what formal training do student staff receive to be able to properly handle the children?
Yeah. Licensing, which is DCYF, Department of Children, Youth, and Families. We have a lot of training that they require. So they follow Central's training, everything that Central requires. And then on DCYF, we have a laundry list, everything from safe sleep to work with the babies, homelessness, medication administration. They have a 30-hour course that they have to take as well. There's a classified lead staff in each classroom, and the student staff assist them, but every student staff has to have that 30 hours also. First aid, CPR, everybody has to have a food handler's permit. And I can send that to Robbie to give to everybody of every single thing that the WAC requires, but that is a good chunk of the ones off the top of my head. And the 30 hours, that's a big one, because that's a big undertaking. Mm-hmm.
And then for the new flooring, do you have an expected estimated lifespan of it, considering that the carpet lasted 30 years?
Do we have, another 30 years? I think that's how I answered it last time.
30?
Yeah, the last question I did, yeah. if not longer, with it being LVP, the luxury vinyl plank.
I have a few questions. My first one is kind of a question from last year about are students or parents able to use the state resources at the ECLC, like state support?
State pay?
Yeah.
No state pay.
And what is the
reason why, maybe Michelle, you can correct me, the reason why we don't take that is because the state doesn't reimburse 100% of the cost. So the state only reimburses a percentage of the cost. Do you remember what percentage it was like? It's less, it's not the total cost of the care. And so they made a choice at the ECLC to not take that, because then how do we recover that cost if the state's not paying? So the state, I don't know how other places do it with their labor costs. So the state does not pay the full cost for the actual child care. That's why we don't do it.
Thank you.
I believe it was 2017 we no longer accepted state pay.
Has that been a problem for the students?
No, we've been asked it, but there has been other resources out there where Hope Source has paid for their full amount of childcare, so they've reached out to Hope Source, Aspen. We also have a WASAC grant, and that's fall, winter, spring, no summer. And so for fall, winter 2026, they had 694 credited to their account. Heather Harrell probably put it on here shortly. So that goes towards their contract charge. And so that ranges anywhere between $400 to $900, and that's really helpful for them.
Yeah. Thank you. My next question is about the attendance at the ECLC. I think that somebody sort of touched on it, but would you be able to provide numbers as far as like similar to the wait list, but the faculty and staff whose children are actually in those rooms so that we can see the enrollment?
Yes. I also wrote... Yes. And I actually broke it down for you too, but I can put it on paper to give to you. It's a little bit easier. Our roster is, I suppose it's easy for us to look at and read, but I think I'll break it down a little bit easier for you so you can just look at it and just see faculty, staff, students.
To the how the wait list is broken down by room. And then just another question about how the students specifically, but just everybody, you had mentioned like some people are here for Tuesday and Thursday maybe. Are you charging like by the day or by the hour or by the space so they have, how does that work?
Oh, yeah. The Tuesday, Thursday I was referencing for student staff working. They might only have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, Tuesday, Thursday wide open, so they could work a 5-hour chunk like that. So I was referencing student staff having much more hours available. But yes, so when you have a contract, and that's how we do it for fall, winter, and spring and summer, is the amount of days that you attend and you're charged whether you're there or not.
All right. Perfect. Then I'd like to just interrupt
either.
To extend the meeting by 5 minutes. Can I get a vote on that, please? Or motion? Extend the Q&A, sorry, by 5 minutes.
I motion to extend the Q&A by 5 minutes.
A second.
All in favor? All right, motion passes unanimously.
Yes, so charged whether you use the time or not.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And that was my last question.
Thank you.
Well, I had a clarifying question. Could you explain what the self-support funds are on your budget allocation?
So the great question, the self-support funds are the revenue that we get from the contract. So Michelle mentioned every parent who brings their children to the child care center signs a contract for the time that they're using, and then they pay for that. So one of the slides that showed you the rates, so that's the revenue, that's the additional revenue we're getting. So faculty, staff pay 100%, students pay a percentage of that. So yeah, so that's all that's the only revenue that we get. We do get some support from there's a national, what's it called, the meal.
Our food program, so we get reimbursed for partial of that.
But that's not included in the revenue cost. It's an offset to our cost, so you wouldn't see it in that sheet. But the revenue specifically is the rates that we charge for services.
Gotcha, thank you. Any other questions?
How are your operational revenues currently being used?
Great question. I would say, Trent, maybe you can collect me. It's about 90% labor. So childcare, the only other cost outside of the childcare of the labor cost is we do provide food. There's some food costs there, some supplies. Obviously, there's books, toys, things like that they have to replace. But probably more than 90% of the cost is labor. So that's the thing about childcare is that we don't have a lot of other costs. Like I've asked Michelle to take a look at their budget. Like how can we, reduce our costs in the budget? But really the biggest thing we can do is reduce labor. But then you saw the rules, the laws of the state of Washington require us to have a certain ratio. So we're kind of stuck with that labor cost. So if we have to have X number of staff per students, we either have to reduce our students, the number of children that we can care for, or charge more. So there's not a lot of things that Michelle and her team can do to offset that cost. So that's the bulk of our cost there, labor. And then every time the labor cost goes up, like the minimum wage, then that obviously puts pressure on the total cost there too. And then staff. Most of the staff there are unionized, and so they typically get a bump every year according to their union contract, and it's usually about 3% every year for labor cost goes up. So if we don't raise our rates 3%, we're in some trouble. Which that's where we're at this year too. So good question.
I think you alluded a little bit to this, Michelle, but you had mentioned that your capacity is 75 to 100 students, but you're only serving 50 in winter 26. Can you explain why?
The green room, which is the school age, since they've had zones, we used to have all the school buses come and drop off the children from all the elementaries. With the zone hitting in 2021-22, we're Valley View, and so that's the only bus that delivers. We can only self-transport so many down to Michelson, room 109. So that is where we lie with not a full after-school space. So that is our big empty space right now.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other questions? Alrighty, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next we have the Office of International Studies Programs. Student program.
Hello. I'm Rachel Gordon. I'm our International Partnerships Manager in the Office of International Studies and Programs. And I'm joined today with Ryan McGuckin. He's our Program Coordinator. And we'll share with you our base funding request. So if you don't know much about OISP, that's our acronym OISP. This is our overall office. We can have anywhere from 20 to 25 people employed at any given time. The fluctuation is usually on the number of student workers we have and faculty members, as our AUAP, the Asia University America program, and our UASL, the University English as a Second Language program, program numbers, either go up or down depending on enrollment. So on the left, we have AUAP. Nikki, our executive director, is also the AUAP director. And she has her support staff there. Then we have Matt Bridgkey on the side. He does our ESL program, and he has just a few faculty that work under him. And we have our Education Abroad department. So they help central students go abroad, and international students come here for an exchange. And then the portion in the middle is our International Student Scholar Services program, and that's zooming in. That's us here. We have me and Ryan, and then our program assistants, Sonia Tuji. She's our director of the International Student Scholar Services division, and she oversees Roz and Shelby, which work on our recruitment and admissions and advising. And then Ray is our office support supervisor, and he has a student worker under him. And even though we have somewhat of a large overall office, boom, those are the only people who are people and their programs that are supported by S&A funds. So the programs that Ryan puts on with his support staff, his 2 program assistants, and then their salaries are what is funded by S&A funds. So it's a little bit more about what our office overall does. Like I said, we do international student recruitment. So Sonia travels both internationally and domestically to the community colleges to speak to international students about either coming here as first-year students or transferring here. She just got back from the Portland transfer fairs. And then once students apply, we have our own admissions team. So international students don't apply through the admissions office. We took on that role ourselves. So we have about a team of 3 that handles international student admissions. We do not get the application fee revenue from that, however, that stays with the admissions office. And then once they're here, to get them here, we work with them on immigration advising to get either a F or a J1 visa, depending on what program type they're coming with. Then once they come here, we have an advisor who helps advise them until they get into their academic major. We have Steve and Matthew who work with our exchange students and the domestic students who want to study abroad to help them either find a partner or a third-party provider to do a short-term or longer-term exchange program, work with a third-party program. And Ryan, who works with, makes sure we are in compliance with health insurance policy for the university, and then helps to organize all the events for international and domestic students to get to know one another, share cultures. And then I work on our international partnership management and help develop new partnerships, short-term programs for students to come here, that kind of sort of stuff. So we are the only office on campus to offer programming that's specifically designed to connect international and domestic students and encourage that cross-cultural communication. We're mostly self-support through funds generated through Education Abroad, the ESL program, AWP program. We do get some funding from the Provost Office to manage these other aspects, but we're asking for the S&A funding to help increase the retention of our international students by helping them be connected on campus, to meet the strategic goals of the university by offering them the additional support and extended programming they need to succeed. So that's how we meet our goals there of the mission and vision. We created our own office mission statement, and it's the Office of International Studies and Programs directly affect the mission, our vision, mission, and values of Central Washington University by fostering global engagement, promoting cultural awareness, and providing students with opportunities to develop the skills necessary for success in an interconnected world. So who do we serve? As of this fall, we have 196 international students from 42 countries. We're still kind of rebounding from COVID. Before COVID, we had like 65 countries represented. So, but we have about 133 students here in Ellensburg and 63 or so in our centers. Of that, about 22 are grad students, 174 undergrad, post-bac, or non-matric. We don't have the number of domestic students looking to study abroad or engage with international students, but it's who we serve. And then our CWU faculty, the Ellensburg community, and visiting scholars. We have a visiting scholar coming in from Romania on the 25th of this month, and a family of scholars from China, hopefully also the 25th of this month, if not maybe in April. But all right.
So when me and my team are choosing what we want to plan and do event-wise for the quarter, these are kind of the core things that we look at when we're doing them. So international students, as currently we have one in this room, they diversify campus and our residence halls a lot. They offer lots of different viewpoints from different countries that American students might not think of when they're learning their classes. This is a big one for me, especially, is helping our American students really learn about other cultures and become culturally sensitive to the world. So, yeah. So with the S&A funds, like we said earlier, me and my student staff are the only ones that access and spend any of the S&A funds that we receive. We use them to do these type of events. So we have lots of things that help our students with these S&A funds, like work experience, student leadership opportunities for our students, and then international programming that is specifically designed to help facilitate that connections. This is just an example of some of the stuff we did last quarter in the fall. So we do both really big events, big trips, like our Seattle day trip. That's always very popular with the students, as well as smaller stuff. Like we did a tie-dye night, international movie night, small events that really focus on that personal connection between our American and international students. Some of the things that we already are planning for next quarter that's going to be using S&A funds are another Seattle trip. We partner with the Wildcat Pantry to do a cultural grocery store trip. So we get in vans and go over to the west side Seattle area so our students can have more access to their native cultural food that is either really expensive for them to get here or is impossible for them to get here. This is just a fraction of all the offices that we work with, so we really try to spread our wings as big as we can across campus to get as much help from other offices. This is last funding cycles, as well as what we're forecasted for this current fiscal year. Then we're raising our request just a little bit, up to $15,000, which is what we had in the previous cycle. And we're doing that. The increase will help us continue our programming for the students, for both American and international students, but especially international students. And then also help provide and keep my program assistants. Their wage comes directly out of S&A. So helping with that.
All right, perfect.
Yep.
Good. Any questions?
I think mine is more of a clarification. When you were going through the org chart and circled your team, I just wanted to sort of clarify that your salary is not part of this request.
My salary is not part of S&A, no.
It's just
my student staff and the programs. That's what the S&A.
Thank you.
Yeah. Why we circled it is because I'm the one that makes the decisions using the S&A money. So, yeah, Abby.
With some of your trips, they require paid admission. What do you use those operational revenues for currently?
So when I'm planning my trips, so as an example, we'll use last quarter's Seattle trip. So the bus for that can vary, but it's very expensive. And if we were to cover the entire cost of the bus, it would really cut the amount of programs we would be able to offer later in the year, especially like our smaller events that we make free for all students to come to. So we use the ticket revenue to help offset the costs that we spend on the buses mainly. That's usually the type of, really our big trips are the only ones that we ticket. And I try to keep the cost for the tickets as low as I can. So.
With the increase to 15,000, how would you be able to hire any more student staff?
When I was mapping out all the increase in things, what I did was I just took what our new minimum wage is and put it at 15 hours. That's what I give my students both. So one student gets 10 hours, one gets 5. And then my plan is to keep that. Well, that's a pretty good level that we have for our students, and the rest would be used on our programs to help make new programs, as well as keep the price low for our bigger trips.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any more questions? Alrighty, thank you so much.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you. All right, and next we have the community garden at the Wildcat Neighborhood Farm.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nora Jacobs, and I'm the interim farm manager at the Wildcat Farm, and I'm joined by Cadence Hesh, who is the community garden coordinator, who you will be hearing from soon. To start off, the farm is at the corner of 14th and Alder. It has 3 big high tunnels. Maybe you've seen it before. Maybe you've been out there on tours or volunteering. The community garden is the area in this picture just north of those big high tunnels. Okay, so our mission at the community garden really is to support the community health and well-being, and that includes environmental, social, and personal health. That's okay. We also are trying to provide opportunities for CW students, staff, and faculty, and community members to learn about, grow, and enjoy fresh and local produce, and also develop a space for learning how to grow your own food. So that's what we are trying to do out there. The space itself is, we have 70 plots. Some of them are in ground, some of them are above ground. We also have friendly access beds, which are wheelchair accessible and available for people who have mobility limitations. We have the communal growing areas, which are tended by community gardeners who take care of everything in there, and then community gardeners are able, any community gardener can harvest anything they want from there. And we have our gathering space, which is the shelter up there where we have people can come and hang out, gardeners hang out, students come do homework. It's also where we have meetings, orientations for the community gardeners, potlucks, things like that. And we have pollinator gardens to try to bring in pollinators to help increase yields of our crops. Okay, so above all, we're really trying to help break down barriers that prevent equitable access to fresh, local, and organic produce. And so in order to do that, we provide everything for free. Seeds, the land, the water, guidance, help from people who work out there. People come over and ask questions all the time. We also have our community box, which for a while there was seemed to be a problem with theft. So vegetables and produce were going missing in the night. And so community gardeners were wondering if we could build a fence or if we could have cameras out there. And then a student came up with the idea of, why don't we just have a box that if you grow too much of something, you can just put it in there. And so we, from the Wildcat Farm, we also bring things over there, and it's cut down theft considerably. And basically, we put produce in there, and by the end of the day, it's gone. We have our communal growing spaces, like I mentioned before, where and the community gardeners tend to this area, and then anyone can harvest from it. Any community gardeners can harvest from it. And it also helps because we have limited plots, and we want everyone who wants to have a plot to have one. So it allows people who really want a garden to have extra space to do that, because the plots are in high demand. And we have our friendly access area where, traditionally gardening can be a difficult thing physically to do. If you have mobility limitations, and the raised, you can see it right up there in the top left picture, is meant to be able to be used if you are in a wheelchair or sitting down. Okay, so our funding for the community garden, because we want to promote equitable access to fresh produce, we don't ask for a participation fee, but what we do ask for instead is that we ask for 6 hours of volunteer service throughout the season from each community gardener to help with maintenance or things that need to be done out there. So funding is used for purchasing tools, seeds, and other equipment, as well as just maintaining infrastructure. But the bulk of the funding goes towards student wages and our community gardener position, which is what Cadence is doing now. So Cadence is super important for making sure things run smoothly out there. She provides support for students. She's a liaison between the gardeners and the farm, and she's doing an awesome job. She also plans events and orientations and recruits gardeners to come out there. So I will now pass it off to Cadence so that she can talk to you a little bit more about the community gardeners themselves, what her position is. So here's Cadence.
Hi, my name is Cadence. I'm the Community Garden Coordinator at the Wildcat Farm. I started this position last spring when I started at the farm, and truly the community garden has impacted me so much, and I'm super grateful to Caitlin and Nora for trusting me with this position. It's a lot of responsibility, and the S&A funds just go to my wages so that I can help the community gardeners and make sure that the garden stays really beautiful. It actually takes a lot of maintenance to make sure that everything stays tip-top shape. I think that the garden can be such an impactful space, not only for the gardeners, who are made up of a very diverse group of people, students, staff, faculty, but also for students who maybe don't have a garden plot themselves, but like to just stop by through the garden. There's a ton of sitting spots. It's super pretty, and it's a nice way for students to get outside on campus and feel a little closer to nature without having to go too far. There are a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of different people who use the garden. It's not just students, it's also student organizations, staff and faculty, community members and alumni, and community organizations. You truly never know who you're going to run into when you're out at the garden. And one of my favorite parts has been just interacting with so many different people, so many awesome community members that I've gotten to meet. A lot of community members who know more about gardening than even I do that I can learn from as well. So to break it down a little more, we also try to keep track of how many people a plot is feeding, which is oftentimes a lot more than just the gardeners that are listed on the plot and that tend to the plot. A lot of people feed their families with their plots, so it's always interesting to see how many people are being fed by the food grown in the garden. And I think this year we're up to 47 individual gardeners instead of 31 so far, which is super awesome. In the last year, we've really focused on accessibility, especially with our friendly access gardening area. With the friendly access area, it's not just about building the accessible raised beds, it's also about maintaining that space, because yes, you can have the raised beds that are accessible to people with mobility issues, but we also have to make sure that the paths stay clear, that the wood chips are laid down, that you can access the friendly access beds, because grass grows, weeds grow, we have a ton of hay bales lying around, the dust, the wind blows everything in. So that's been a real big focus of ours, is that needs constant maintenance. We also started the Adopt a Plot program last summer, which was super helpful. One of the main barriers for students that they always ask me about is, okay, well, I'd love to have a plot at the community garden, but unfortunately, I leave over the summer, which a lot of students do. So the Adopt a Plot program allows students to have their plot in the spring when the season starts, maybe start their seeds, get stuff in the ground, and then over the summer, or whatever amount of time they're gone, they can hand it off to another student or community member, just another gardener who gets to tend to it over the summer. They get a little bit more gardening space. They get to harvest off of it when the student isn't there, and then the student gets to have it back as soon as they come back, which has been really awesome. I feel like it's fostered a lot of relationships within gardeners, because they're not always all there at the same time, because we have such a diverse group of people in our garden. So it's nice to see like collaboration in that way, and for students to feel like they can be in the community garden even if they can't commit their entire summer to being in Ellensburg. Looking forward in 2026 for this upcoming season, we really want to start doing some community dinners. We were going to call these events Plants and Plates, because obviously, like Nora said, we like to get community gardeners involved through volunteer service, whether that's in the garden itself, usually in the communal growing spaces. So we thought if we have an event where people come, they do a work party, you get to meet your gardeners. We like to call them like your neighbors, your plot neighbors. Work for an hour or two, and then afterwards have a little potluck out in the garden, especially if the weather's nice, with food that was grown in the garden, or just like food that you want to share with people. So we're really looking forward to that. The biggest hurdle with that, honestly, has just been communication. It's super hard to reach everybody. And make sure that as many people as possible can come. But we're definitely looking forward to that and striving towards being able to do more of those this upcoming season. And then also something I'm really passionate about is increased signage and clear, accessible information. I feel like if you are familiar with the farm and the garden and the school, you might walk up to the garden and know exactly what's going on. But if you're not, if you're out of town, if you're a student on a tour, if you're just exploring the area, you might walk into the garden and be like, wait, what is this? So we're working on better signage for the plots. It's really hard because the wind, the sun can kind of, like we've put like little plastic stakes and wood stakes out to mark the plots, and they don't stand up to the test of the environment very well. So we recently got some metal signs, which we're really looking forward to, which I think will help with a lot of confusion within gardeners and from people who aren't in the garden. And then also just making it super clear what the space is, what it's for, and how people can get involved. There's a lot of times I see people walk through the garden and they seem super interested, but we don't necessarily right now have clear information posted on how they can get involved. So we want to get a map out there. We want to have maybe a QR code with links so people can sign up. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to like increasing engagement in the garden and just making it more clear what it's there for, and that there's a lot of different ways to participate even if you don't want to have a plot full time. Yeah, we can take questions now. Thank you.
Hi. So I see on here that you have a 20% reduction from previously. I was wondering, like, what have y'all done to reduce the cost?
This is a good question. I honestly don't know. You have an idea?
I would say I think that we're really focused right now on maintaining the tools and things that we have. We did a big like cleanup of the shed and just making sure that everything looks good and is organized, because I feel like taking care of the materials we already have will prevent us from needing to buy new things in the future. And also just stressing to gardeners like to take care of their things while they're at the garden, I feel like has been helpful.
Yes, and we've been very clever with seeds and collecting our own seeds, so that has cut down on costs a lot.
I have a question. How much excess do you produce from this operation, and what happens with it?
So it's kind of every individual plot is its own, everyone's got their own plot going and their own things going. So we do have that community box that I was talking about, where if they do have any excess food, they can put in there, and that always gets swooped up really fast. And then we also always encourage people to take any excess food to one of the food banks, which is what on the other side at the Wildcat Farm, that's what we do with any food that dining does not want. So either to food banks or the community box.
Thank you for that. But do y'all actually track how much excess that is?
At the community garden, we do not, because that it would be very hard to figure out how, because people just are there at random points in the day and put food in the community box whenever they think of it. But at the farm, at Wildcat Farm, we do keep track of everything that we donate.
I appreciate your answers. I just want you to know that that'll probably be good for you. Help
Thank
with
you.
the showing how much work you guys are putting out.
Yeah, thank you.
So I have a few questions. Firstly, you mentioned that you provided free seeds, land, water, tools, and guidance. I'm curious, is this only for Central students or for the whole community?
It is for the whole community. Central students have priority for plots, and then it's open to staff and faculty, and then it's open to community members.
And then do these fall under the $2,500 requested from S&A to provide these free resources for the whole community?
The seeds and water, yeah.
And then since a large portion of users are community members, how do you ensure that S&A funds primarily benefit Central students?
Yeah, well, like I said, Central students absolutely do get priority with plots. The issue is that we currently don't have enough Central students interested in it to fill up all the plots. Hopefully that would change. And with things like adopt a plot programs, I think that that is something that can be happening. But I do think that one value to the community garden is that it is Central students, staff and faculty, community members all working together. And they're in there like talking about what's growing and learning from each other, and it's a really cool thing to be able to see people that might not always have a chance to be having these relationships getting together and working together outside.
And do you receive any other funding from any other departments?
Not the community garden, no.
I just wanted to ask, kind of following up on Abby's question, are there resources that are not S&A funded, like that are from the Wildcat Farm, that help support the community garden as well? Like tools or whatever?
No.
Okay.
That's a great question. One of the things that I don't want to bore you with the history of why the community garden is part of the farm, but the thing that we do support, that the farm does support, is Nora and Caitlin's time. Like they do spend time on the garden. I know primarily we try to keep that to the student employee who is assigned to the community garden, because the S&A funds primarily are used for that student wages. So. But obviously, in order to maintain and manage and run the garden as part of the farm, so it's that little corner of the farm. Yeah, Nora and Caitlin do spend some time there, and I don't know about resources that are shared. They try to keep them separate because, like, the S&A dollars had purchased like the tools for that area, so they stay in that shed. There's a shed over there for that, so they try to keep that separate. But I'm sure there's probably some times where some things are shared resources, but they really tried. I think they tried their hardest to keep those separated. But for sure, the labor for our student employee. So she's assigned to that area. That's what her responsibility is, and that's the bulk of your S&A funds go toward.
Could you just kind of clarify again the main funding source of the farm?
Of Wildcat Farm or the community garden?
Wildcat Farm.
Dining. And then in turn, Wildcat Farm grows produce that we deliver to dining.
Perfect. And then I want to know, I'm sure the S&A is grateful for the 20% reduction of the request, but will that affect the student employment hours or amount of employees you have?
No.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions? All right, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Alrighty, so that was the last of our presentations. We do not have any old business, as I'm aware of. So now we're going to move to our second call of public comment.
I got a comment. I just want to say, Rachel, good job. Sorry you had to pick this up. Y'all all did great.
Thank you, Ba. Alright. Anything else from anybody? All right, perfect. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I motion to adjourn meeting.
I second.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Motion passes unanimously, and I adjourn this meeting at 4:28 p.m. Next meeting is February 13th.